are you gonna ask us questions, or are we?
We're recording. Just hit them.
Okay. So, what do you want me to start with? Do you want me to introduce us?
Introduce yourselves.
Okay. So I'm Eric Broll, and
I'm Jen Broll.
And so we're from Atlanta, and we have a firm in Atlanta that practices in probate law. We do estate and trust administration, and we do estate and trust litigation. Where our business is today is we're at a run rate to do about $2 million in revenue this year, and our lifestyle is a lot different than it used to be in the past. You know, we have a lot more free time. We don't worry about going to kids events or anything like that, because we have a firm that really runs a lot like a business, and it really is a business. And so if we can't be there, the firm continues to run and continues to generate revenues and grow, even without us there. You know, why did we decide to start the firm?
To start with more independence and not depending on a paycheck of somebody else, and then at the same time building our freedom, because I think that was important for us, especially for you at that time, and just be the one making the decision, I guess.
Yeah, we wanted more control over where our lives were going to go. The worst thing that's happened since we started the firm, gosh, I don't know, honestly. I mean, there's been plenty of good, there's been plenty of bad, but you know, you just kind of move past the bad. I
can't
know.
think of any worse things that happened.
There were a lot of bad things that happened.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. There been a lot. We had a partner, and we got rid of the partner. And
Yeah, we had to break up with a partner at one point. Yeah, that was really bad. But
that was one of the worst things.
It's funny because in hindsight, it doesn't seem as bad as it felt at the time.
At the time.
We've had times where we've lost staff. You know, we've had times where we felt like we lost key staff, and it's like, what are you going to do? How are you going to keep going? And you keep going. And you know, the funny thing is, each time that's happened, when we replace them, we wind up with someone better than we had initially. So what almost stopped us from starting the firm? I guess fear.
Fear.
Yeah.
Ourselves, doubting that we're not capable of doing it. That's what probably has stopped us the most.
Yeah, I mean, I know I was afraid when I left, because it felt like, you know, a secure paycheck, and we did it young. You know, we basically started the firm when I was right out of law school.
Yes.
So I got my bar results in October, and then that March we launched the firm, and I had a job at a firm. It wasn't like I was forced to. They were actually surprised when I went and turned in a resignation, and they're like, "You're what? You're starting a firm? That doesn't happen. You don't quit a good law firm job to go start a firm." But we did. But I remember being very afraid about, well, how am I going to
Find the first client.
Yeah, how am I going to find my first client, my second client, my third client? How am I going to get paid, make the money that we need to make? And one exercise I remember that we did is Jennifer and I sat down with a piece of paper and an Excel sheet, and we figured out, what do we need? Because she was working, and so we said, all right, what's our number? What's the minimum amount we need in order to not have to pull money out of savings to continue our lifestyle? And we figured that out, and in the third month we made that. It wasn't a lot, but by the third month we made what we needed, and we never looked back.
What did friends and family say when you announced you were going to start your own firm?
Family was supportive. My parents especially were supportive. You know, I was very afraid, and I went and talked to my dad, and he was very supportive to the point where he, you know, gave me advice, was willing to invest if you know, if we needed a small investment. But friends, they were a little bit, they were kind of like, what are you doing, sort of thing.
They really didn't believe
they did.
it was going to work out.
Yeah, I didn't think that they were like, oh, you know, that's nice, whatever. But we didn't feel like they actually believed it was actually going to go anywhere. It's like, okay, you have this little thing now.
We're not friends with them anymore, so
yeah,
we pretty much
haven't hung out with them in a long time.
Yeah, our lives changed.
Because you don't like them?
No.
Because they offended you? Because they don't feel comfortable being around you anymore?
No.
I think we just grew different ways, and we see life different than.
We tried at first it was all fun and games, and we would have fun. We would do the same things that we would always do. As time went on, we noticed that we wanted to talk about these things and they wanted to talk about those things, and the gap kind of started to grow organically to where we would leave their house or hanging out with them or whatever, and we'd be like, that was just kind of, what did we accomplish? I mean, it was this, and so we just sort of grew apart. I think they started to feel the same way, and it just kind of petered out. It wasn't like a big blow up. We're not hanging out with you ever again. It was just kind of and we developed new friendships. At the same time, we were developing new friendships with different people. We were having more interesting conversations over here, and so I think that it just sort of happened. So what advice do we have about someone that's about to or thinking about or might start a new firm? Find your number. I mean, that's the first thing. You got to figure out your number, just because you need a goal, you need an objective. That was so helpful for us. Once we knew the number of what it would take monthly, we could calculate, all right, this is what we got in savings. It's kind of like, it's got to happen. But it gave us something to shoot for initially. I remember the first thing that I decided, my first big goal is the first year, I want to make my salary. I just want to make what I would have made had I stayed at the firm, but I want to do it on my own. And if I do that, hey, I'm break even financially,
Right.
but I had more control and I did it that way. I mean, that's how simple it was
And
initially.
I guess don't let your fear get in the way, because if we would have let that fear get in the way and all the voices of the people saying that it was not going to be possible for us to do it because we were so young and just him right out of law school, we would not be here right now probably.
Yeah, it's easier than you think and harder than you think at the same time. And what you think is going to be hard, you're probably wrong. And what you think is going to be easy, you're probably wrong. And there's things that you're going to need to do you don't even realize. Some of which are going to be hard, some of which are going to be easy. But basically, whatever it is right now that's going on that you think this is why I can't do it. This is what stops me. More than likely, that's not even going to be on your radar in a year. And it's just, and even, I mean, the process of starting a firm, it really is a process. It's not an event. I got my business license and I registered my company with the Secretary of State or whoever, you register with in your state. So I now have a firm. It's a process, it's not like, the foundation date of our firm was March or February 22nd, but it took us, a year, 2 years. We're even now, we still feel like, we're in the startup stage. But for the first year or two, really, as you're doing that heavy growth, you're still in the stage of starting a firm, I feel like.
Yes.
Where would your life be today, do you think, if you hadn't started your own firm? If you hadn't taken the leap? And if you hadn't stuck it out?
Probably still be working at a corporation.
Yeah, you were in corporate America.
Yeah, I would not have the freedom to go to my kids' events at the school, volunteer at their school, volunteer wherever I want to be helping in the community, or just feel like I don't have to be at the office at 8 o'clock in the morning if I don't need to, or if I don't want to. I get to have the freedom and I have control over my life and my schedule and what I want to do.
Yeah, it's funny. This is kind of a funny story. Was it last week or the week before? There was an event at our kids' school. It was
Yeah.
what was it?
It's a field day.
Yeah, the field day. That both the kids were in, so they go out, they do all the field activities, the sack races, that kind of thing. For whatever reason, it wasn't on my calendar. I don't know how it didn't get on my calendar, but I didn't have anything going on that morning. I was just going to go in, morning office day and get some things done. And Jen tells me about it, the night before. We got this thing tomorrow. I'm like, we got what thing tomorrow? And it was really cool just to say, all right, I'm going. I mean, that was it. That was the extent of the decision. It wasn't, oh, I have these 5 cases or whatever that have to get done. It's like, all right, I'm going to go. And so just got stuck on the calendar at like 10 o'clock at night, so the staff would know, not to expect us in the office. And I went, and I spent half a day at the kids' school, and the kids, you know, the cool thing, number one, is I wasn't worried about it, so I was fully there. But number two, I don't know if the kids knew I was going to be there, or they didn't know which parents were going to be there or what,
Right.
but when they walked out into the gymnasium for the first part, and we have two, each one of them spotted us. You know, they're
Their
looking around
face
everywhere. Their face just completely
lit up.
lit up that we were there. And,
Yeah.
and that's just, it's those kind of moments that if I were still at the firm, there's no way. There's absolutely no way that I could just take off on the spur of a moment and go to an event like that.
That's the best story I've ever heard. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.